What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing an album review. Just thought I'd do this. I've always been interested in kind of doing these things, so I thought I'd go ahead and, record one, upload one, and see what happens, see if you guys like it. Today we're going to be going over Motionless and White's new album, Disguise. Brand new, fresh, just came out at midnight. 99% of you probably don't even know who that is, and that's fine. They are a heavy metal, kind of like a deathcore band, almost in some aspects from Pennsylvania. Scranton, Pennsylvania is where they're from. And I was very excited for this album because their last album that came out, which was called Graveyard Shift, I was just a little bit disappointed with. It was very commercial. And I felt like most of the songs on that record weren't true to what Motionless was. Like I said, and I didn't hate the record. You know, there was some really good stuff on there. 570, which was more of like a deathcore kind of thing. Eternally Yours, which was the ballad of the record, which is pretty damn good. Yeah, we're just gonna go through this now. I was very excited for it, and yeah. So how my album reviews are gonna work is I'm gonna go through each track one by one, and I'm going to say what I thought was very good about that song. And then at the end, I'm going to give my favorite tracks, and I'm going to give my least favorite tracks, and then I'm going to give an overall album rating on a scale of 1 to 5 is how I'm going to do it. So let's kick it up. The first song on the record was a song called Disguise. It was the lead single from the record. This one sounded a lot like their last record, Graveyard Shift. Very new. It had some really good riffs in it. It had a fantastic breakdown in the middle with the build-up with Chris just completely tearing it down. Like I said, it was very commercial. That's how most bands do it now. Most heavy metal or rock bands, they give the most commercial, successful song on the record first as the single, so they can get their name out there, and then people can listen to the whole record and be like, okay, this is cool. And a very catchy chorus. That was a very repetitive thing throughout this record, was that there was very good melodic, catchy choruses that you could sing along to, and it made you feel good. So that one was, I liked that one from the start. The next one is a song called Headache. This one threw me off just a little bit. It had a really, really nice, smooth bass intro, which is something that not a lot of bands do. But not a lot of bands do a bass intro, and to do it how they did it, and I was like, wow, it was pretty cool. It sounded really good. It sounded like a lot of early to mid 2000s stuff in the verses. Very, like, you know what I'm talking about. The pre-chorus was very heavy, though. It switched up like that, and it just went from like all the way down here to all the way up here. You jumped like 100 levels right there. Again, catchy chorus, great breakdown. Two things that Motionless is very good at doing: great breakdowns, great choruses. That one I actually really liked. The next one was called Code. After listening to it once, I feel like this is one of those grower songs is what we call them. Songs that you don't like at first listen, or you're not really into, but the more you listen to it, the more it grows on you. I feel like this is going to be one of those songs. This had experimental written all over it. It kind of sounded something like Marilyn Manson or Rob Zombie would make, if you guys know who they are. Very commercial. It sounded very commercial to me, but it had a really catchy chorus, and I really enjoyed that and liked that. But yeah, I was very thrown off by Code. I didn't really know how to take it at first. I was kind of just listening to it, kind of dissecting it, what most of the songs on the record, I was going through, and like I was kind of bobbing my head through it all. I was really getting into it. This one, I couldn't really do that. I was very, very confused. Really, I was very confused about what was going on in it. So, yeah, that's just, how I took it. The next one was Thoughts and Prayers. And, wow. wow, what a great song. Great opening, and that had one of the sickest and one of the best breakdowns I've ever heard Motionless produce in my life. That's definitely top 5, if not the best breakdown I've ever heard by them. That had a huge, great thing. Chris's vocals were fantastic on this song. The music, and that's something that a lot of people don't seem to really give Motionless credit for. Chris's voice and the guys in the band, Vinny's drumming, Ryan and Ricky's guitar work, and now the new addition of Justin Morrow into the band on bass just makes it more complete. I could not be happier with it, and they are all great musicians, and they all killed it on this record, and I feel like they don't get enough credit for this. But Chris's vocals, especially on the song, were just fantastic. One of my favorites on the record, hands down. The next one was a song called Legacy. Now this song was kind of like Code, where I kind of had to sit there and listen to it because I'm like, okay, now where is this going? It had sort of like a marching intro almost, and I was like, okay, I can get into that. And then it got into the verses and the chorus, and I'm like, okay, that's not what I was expecting. Kind of a slower pace, really. Kind of sounded a lot like Breaking Benjamin, if you guys know who Breaking Benjamin is. They were a very popular in the mid 2000s. They had a song called Diary of Jane. Firefly. Dance with the Devil and stuff. They had a new record come out. I think it was last year or the year before. A song called Ember, or a record called Ember. They had, which again, that was a pretty great record too. I'm not gonna lie. But this one was very commercial as well. There was less dirty vocals and more of a clean vocals on this song, which there's nothing wrong with that. This I feel is another grower song. I just got to get used to it probably. But this one was kind of like, okay. And then it had a nice string arrangement towards the end. Toward the end of the songs, they brought in some nice strings towards the end. Some nice violin and stuff, and it was very beautiful. One of the highlights of that song for me. Alright. Next one was another one of the singles. It was Undead Ahead 2, The Tale of the Midnight Ride. This one had a very early Motionless and White influence. Kind of sounding like something off Creatures or Infamous. Very cool, nice music, great dirty vocals by Chris throughout the whole song. One of the catchiest choruses on the record. It had a fantastic breakdown, and I love the fact that they included Ricky on vocals towards the end. On that last verse, he was talking, and it was just fantastic. Like I said, I enjoyed it. When I first heard the song, I'm like, oh my god, this has got to be played live. This is a great live song. They haven't played it live yet, so we're gonna hopefully, fingers crossed, they end up playing it live, and I get to see some live footage of that, because that'd be pretty cool, I think. Alright, the next one is Holding On to Smoke. This one, again, was very commercial. A lot of like the deeper cuts on the record are kind of sounding like Graveyard Shift almost, but it's also kind of sounding like a new sort of resurgence of Motionless, if that makes sense. It had a nice intro, it had a nice feel in the beginning for it. And the chorus again was very catchy. This is one of the better deep tracks off the record. For those of you who don't know what a deep track is a song that's not it's not a single, and it's not one of the big songs on the record, but it is a very good deep track. It is what we call a deep cut, almost. Deep cut. This one was the whole definition of that. And lyrically, this record was great. I'm going to be listening to this album on repeat today, because this album was just very good to me. Alright, the next one The next one is a song called After, or Another Life. This one kind of sounded like Eternally Yours off Graveyard Shift. It was kind of ballady, which Motionless doesn't normally do ballads, per se. They very rarely do them. Eternally Yours was kind of a ballad. This one was kind of ballady. It had nice clean vocals in the beginning, very smooth, very, had, Vinny killed it on the drums. He had some nice drumming on this song. But the chorus, again, I cannot stress how catchy the choruses are. Even if you guys don't like metal and you guys don't like rock, you guys will enjoy the choruses on these songs. These choruses are so great. You just can't help but move your head, close your eyes, and just feel the music with it. I know I probably sounded like a druggie right there, but and it was a good track. It wasn't one of my favorites, but I'm pretty sure the song will grow on me and I'll get used to it. But it wasn't one of my favorites, but it was still a very good track, a very solid track. Next one, I completely forgot that this song was even in the track listing. Next one is Broadcasting from Beyond the Grave, Death Incorporated. First of all, what a mouthful. Same thing with Undead Ahead 2. Tale of the Midnight Ride. Long names. This one kind of took me back a little bit because I wasn't expecting it to go into all these different elements that they had. It was very heavy riffage throughout the whole song. They added some nice vocal effects for Chris, and it actually enhanced his voice rather than, ruin the performance. With most bands and artists, when they use effects, stuff like auto-tune or reverb or something like that, half the time it doesn't feel right, and it doesn't sit well with me, at least. I don't know about you guys, that's just how I feel. But these vocal effects really worked, and I feel like with Motionless, anytime they add a vocal effect, it actually works 100%, and it works really, really cool and really, really good. And it was they had a very creative approach to the pre-chorus. I was kind of like, okay, this is a bit different, but the chorus was heavy, it was great, it felt awesome. Again, a creative breakdown. This one had experimental written all over it. This one just happened to go along better than Code did. But yeah, this song was very solid. Very, very solid. Alright. Down to the last two tracks. The next one was the second single. It's called Brand New Numb. Again, when I first heard the song, I was kind of taken back a little bit. I was like, I don't know what to think about it. When I first listened to it along with Disguise about a month or so ago, about a month or two ago, when they released them. This one was probably the most experimental song on the record. Does not sound anything like Motionless had produced in the past. If I had to compare it to something that they've done before, it would be Graveyard Shift, the last record. But this one just had experimental written all over it. Nice vocal effects, and I like the fact that they started off with a fuck up in the studio. Ricky's trying to do that, and then he's like, I'm trying to fucking record this. But yeah, it was super cool, super awesome, and I thought it was very cool. Catchy chorus, though. It had a very catchy chorus. It was very melodic in that. The pre-chorus was very interesting, because they had these, Vinny's doing the Chris has got the I wanna break free. And then they added this weird kind of like someone's like hitting a glass to like make a toast, kind of like that noise in it as well. you know, kind of stuff like that. But it was interesting, kept me into it, and I feel like when they added stuff like that into the song, I feel that that's just a way to help us, you know, be more, you know, into the song and keep us engaged and actually trying to like dissect it and to enjoy it. So hats off to Motionless for that. Alright, we're down to the last song, Catharsis. No, it's a mouthful. Catharsis. I didn't know what this meant, so I had to look up what it meant, and it means to like release something. And oh my god, hands down, the greatest ballad they've ever written, and hands down one of my favorite Motionless and White songs to date. I don't care what anyone says. This song was beautiful. Great, calm opening. This was the perfect closer to the record. Perfect closer. Had nice, clean vocals throughout the whole song. One of the best choruses I think they've ever written in their life. It had a nice meaning to it, meaning release and stuff like that. And it was, what a way to close the song, and what a way to close the record. Again, I cannot stress to you guys enough. If you guys don't even like this band, give this song a listen. This song is very good. This is perfect for people who don't like heavy vocals or breakdowns or anything like that. If you're more into just listening to music, this is a perfect song for you. Again, very, very cool song. Very, very cool. Alright. Now we're going to get into my favorite tracks and my least favorite tracks. Again, I didn't hate any song on this record. When I say least favorite, in terms of like new records, it's just songs that I didn't enjoy that much. If we're going off least favorite tracks first, I'm going to go with Brand New, Numb, Codes, and Legacy. Again, I don't hate the songs, I just think they're some of the weaker tracks on the record. In terms of my favorites, Thoughts and Prayers, Undead Head 2, Disguise, Catharsis, and Broadcasting from Beyond the Grave, Death Incorporated, were all fantastic songs. This album gets a 4 out of 5 rating, and that's all I needed. 4 out of 5, that's all I needed. So yeah, what did you guys think of the record? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys thought of the record and what your favorite tracks and least favorite tracks are. I'll see you guys soon. You guys can follow me on all my social medias. I'm going to link them in the description down below. Comment, like, rate, and hit that subscribe button yet if you haven't. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys. Bye.